I pressed my foot against the brake and cursed under my breath. Morning traffic on the I-5 was crawling. Horns blared, and the gray Seattle drizzle coated my windshield in uneven streaks. My wipers squeaked, trying to keep up. Another date, I thought. Another test of my patience. I'm Ethan Cole, minus 55 years old, too set in my ways, and teetering on the edge of a life I no longer recognize. Maybe I should have retired early, moved somewhere warmer, somewhere that didn't press you down with constant rain and gridlock. But I'm here, stuck behind a minivan and a pickup truck, going 2 miles an hour. As I inch forward, my phone buzzes in the console. Caroline's name appears. My wife. We've been married for 30 years, though lately I can't tell what those years truly mean. The call goes to voicemail before I can pick up. Probably another vague request. Ethan, can you pick up milk? Or, let's talk tonight. Those messages fill me with a hollow sense of dread. At work, my desk is the same drab gray it's always been, the overhead fluorescent lights casting a harsh glare on spreadsheets I pretend to study. I run a shipping coordinators team, which basically means I sign a lot of forms and deal with small crises, missing packages, delayed deliveries. Today, though, the usual monotony feels like a relief. If I can bury myself in tasks, maybe I won't replay those late-night suspicions. Around noon, I get up to stretch my legs. My reflection in the break room window surprises me. The lines etched around my eyes look deeper. My hair's thinning. It's as if the man I used to be, hopeful, lively, faded, and left behind this somber version. I try to force a smile, but it feels unnatural, so I give up. I skip lunch and work through the hour. When I finally leave the office at 5, the sky is already draped in purple twilight. Rain patters against my car roof like a relentless drummer. I drive home, letting the radio fill the silence. Some old rock tune plays, but I hardly listen. My mind drifts to Caroline, her recent distance, the odd hushed phone calls, the night she claimed she's at a women's group meeting on Facebook or stepping out to see a therapist for her stress. A pang of guilt shoots through me for suspecting her. But by the time I pull into our driveway, that guilt has transformed into a heavy ache. The living room window glows with a warm light. I sit in the car for a moment, engine off, listening to the rain. I tell myself I'm just unwinding before going inside. When I finally push open the front door, I'm greeted by silence. Usually Caroline calls out, "Hey, Ethan." But tonight there's only the faint hum of the refrigerator. The lights are on, though. I step into the kitchen, set my keys on the counter, and notice her phone by the coffee maker. It's unlocked, screen lit. I shouldn't look, I tell myself. But then I see a glimpse of a message from someone named Brandon. The text, "Can't wait to see you again. Yesterday was unforgettable." My stomach clenches. I swipe to see if there's more. Another text, "Miss your touch already." My throat constricts. Heart pounding, I look around. She's not here. I see a note on the table. "Out with Linda. Be back soon." Linda is an old friend, apparently. My hands tremble. I've known Linda for years, but Linda's messages never look like that. This is someone else, someone named Brandon. And yesterday was unforgettable, implies something physical, something real. I put the phone down, feeling sick. My mind runs wild with possibilities. Are they meeting at a motel? Is Brandon younger, fitter? Does she love him? I fight the urge to fling the phone across the room. Instead, I stand there, inhaling the stale air of a life built on trust that's now crumbling. When Caroline returns an hour later, I'm in the living room, faking interest in the TV. She calls out a distracted "I'm home," sets down her purse, and heads straight to the kitchen. I hear her rummaging, probably sees her phone, checks it, heart pounding just like mine. But I don't move. She emerges, a tight smile on her face. "Ethan, how was your day?" I flick the TV off and turn to her. Long. Stressful. I want to confront her, but something holds me back. Maybe I'm afraid of the truth. Maybe I'm waiting for her to come clean. She says nothing more, just nods and heads upstairs. That night, I barely sleep. I toss and turn, my mind conjuring images of her entangled with someone else. In my nightmares, he's faceless but clearly younger, muscular arms, smooth skin, a cocky grin. I see them in our bed, hear her low moan that once belonged to me. Morning arrives, and the tension in the house is thicker than the Seattle fog. I leave early, skipping breakfast. As I walk out, I hear Caroline's hushed tone on the phone. My gut twists. At work, I can't focus on anything. By noon, I've made a decision. I'm going to follow her. I'm going to find out for sure. The following day around 4 p.m., I drive home quietly, park a block away, and wait. Sure enough, Caroline's car leaves the driveway at 4:30. I trail her carefully, maintaining a safe distance. She turns onto a busy road, heads downtown, then veers into a parking lot adjacent to a small professional building. A suite that houses therapists, counselors, niche medical offices. I watch from a distance as she steps out, checks her reflection in a compact mirror, and enters the building with a determined sway of her hips. My pulse hammers. She claimed she had a therapy appointment. But I recall that text. Brandon. A counselor named Brandon Pierce, perhaps. After a few minutes of internal debate, I kill the engine and walk toward the building, my jacket hood pulled low. I climb the stairs, scanning the frosted glass doors. One reads, Brandon Pierce, licensed counselor. My heart stutters. She's seeing him, or seeing him. I push the door open, stepping into a modest waiting area. No receptionist, just a row of chairs, a small side table stacked with magazines, a potted ficus in the corner. A single closed door leads to his office. Through that thin barrier, I hear muffled voices. My hand shakes on the knob. I hesitate. Am I really going to barge in? Then I notice Caroline's purse on a chair, a therapy pamphlet half pulled out. She left her purse behind. The overhead lights buzz. Something in me snaps. I twist the doorknob. Locked. In my mind, scenarios flash. They're in there, tangled, lost in each other, betraying me. Adrenaline surges. I clench my jaw, step back, and look for another entry. A narrow hallway extends past the waiting room. I follow it to a small door labeled private. I test it. It opens. Inside, a short corridor leads to what might be the back of the counseling office. My senses sharpen. I hear a gasp, a breathy moan. My face burns. I edge closer until I see a partially open door. I peek through the crack. Caroline's blouse is unbuttoned. Brandon, tall and lean, cradles her face and kisses her neck. I see them from the side. He's pressed against her, his hand on her waist, her hair disheveled. She moans softly. My breath catches in my throat. This is it. Cold, stark reality. The shock paralyzes me. A wave of nausea sweeps over me, and I grip the doorframe to keep steady. She's leaning into him, eyes closed, lips parted. My entire world implodes. I watch as he murmurs something, and she smiles. A smile I haven't seen on her face for years. They cling to each other, that raw hunger proving it's not their first time. It's real. My heart hammers so loudly I fear they'll hear it. The smell of the office, a mix of disinfectant and cheap perfume, fills my nostrils. A tide of anger swells, and I nearly barge in. But something warns me. If I do, I might kill him, or her, or both. Then she giggles, that husky laugh I used to adore. My fists clench. I can't see more than silhouettes, but I see enough. Her blouse slipping off one shoulder, his hand sliding under her skirt. A wave of red rage. I want to scream, but my voice lodges in my throat. I stumble back, pressing my fist to my mouth, terrified I'll explode. Then I notice her purse still on that waiting room chair. She must have rushed to him so eagerly that she forgot it. A twisted thought crosses my mind. I could walk in, pretend I'm just returning her purse. My mouth tastes like copper. My heart pounds. That's exactly what I do. Clutching her purse, I march back, face burning, muscles taut. I fling open the main office door. It's still locked from the other side, but I jam my shoulder against it, feeling the latch pop. They both jerk apart with a startled gasp. Caroline shrieks, scurrying to button her blouse. Brandon spins around, his expression a wild mix of guilt and shock. I see a crumpled box of tissues on the side table, a half-empty glass of water. The small therapy couch stands as a mockery of professional help. Ethan. Caroline's voice trembles. What are you doing here? I hurl her purse onto the couch. You forgot this. Thought I'd bring it by. My words drip venom. My gaze flicks to Brandon, who's trying to straighten his shirt. He manages a stutter. Mr. Cole, this is a misunderstanding. My vision tunnels. A misunderstanding. I bark out a humorless laugh. Looked pretty damn clear to me. I step closer, fists clenched. He's taller, but fury gives me a surge of reckless strength. Caroline stands between us, arms outstretched. Ethan, wait. I shove her aside, not violently but enough to break her stance. My right fist connects with Brandon's jaw in a blur of rage. He staggers back, knocking over a small lamp. Pain shoots through my knuckles, but I don't care. I swing again, this time catching his shoulder. He crumples against the wall, eyes wide with alarm. Caroline screams, "Stop, you'll hurt him." I glare at her. Hurt him? I found you two like this, and you're worried about his well-being. My voice is hoarse. My heart sledgehammers in my chest. Brandon tries to speak, a line of blood trickling from his split lip. Ethan, let's calm. I grab him by the collar. Don't you dare say my name. My breath is ragged. I smell the faint aftershave on his skin, see the fear flickering in his eyes. It's not enough. I want to wipe that confidence off his smug face. Caroline yanks at my arm. Stop, please. Something in her voice breaks through the red haze. I release him, and he slumps to the floor, coughing. She kneels beside him, smoothing his hair away from his forehead, whispering apologies. That image, the two of them close, her worrying over him, carves a deeper wound in me than any physical strike could. I step back, trembling. The room is deathly silent except for our ragged breathing. Then I speak, voice low and raw. Caroline, how long? She won't meet my eyes. Brandon stares at the floor, spitting a bit of blood. Answer me. I snarl. She looks up, tears streaming. Ethan, I never meant for it to go this far. A bitter laugh escapes me. But it did. And you plan to keep lying to me. Brandon tries to stand, using the wall for support. He's taller and younger, yet he looks small right now. I'm sorry, he mutters. It was unprofessional. A mistake. Mistake. My voice cracks. You think sleeping with my wife is just a small oversight. He closes his eyes. I shouldn't have. Oh, shut up. My glare could melt steel. I turn to Caroline. You told me you needed a psychologist. You said you were in some crisis. You had me drive you to these sessions. And all along, my voice trails off, choked. I waited in the damn car while you... She collapses into sobs, her shoulders shaking. I can't stand to see her like that, but the betrayal courses through me like poison. I spin around and punch the wall, leaving a small dent in the plaster. Pain zips up my arm. Brandon flinches but doesn't try to stop me. Caroline's cries fill the room, mingling with the stale odor of betrayal. Finally, I swallow hard, my chest heaving. I force my voice to steady. We're done here. If you think I'm just going to walk away and let this slide, you're dead wrong. Brandon, still perched against the wall, meets my stare. There's regret in his eyes, or maybe just fear. Mr. Cole, I hold up a hand, cutting him off. My voice is a trembling whisper. Don't speak to me. Don't come near me. You want to play therapist. You should have known better than to cross this line. Caroline reaches for me. I recoil, my stomach churning at the thought of her touch. Ethan, she pleads, just let me explain. I yank my arm away. There's nothing you can say right now that I want to hear. My gaze drifts around the tiny room, the lamp on the floor, the couch that witnessed their treachery. Hate wells up, warring with heartbreak. Without another word, I storm out. The corridor feels claustrophobic, the fluorescent lights flickering overhead. My mind buzzes with 1,000 images, her arching her neck to kiss him, his hands exploring her. Adrenaline still surges through my veins. I need air. I need to scream. I burst through the stairwell and descend, each step resounding with my fury. Outside, the rain is heavier now, washing over me as though trying to cleanse my soul. I gasp for breath, suddenly aware that my fists throb. The cold droplets soak my hair, my clothes, but I barely feel it. In my car, I grip the steering wheel so tight my knuckles go white. Anguish, rage, humiliation, they all swirl inside me. My chest feels close to collapsing. Then, quietly, I let out a roar of pain, pounding my fist on the dash. This is my reality. I sit there, rain pattering on the windshield, for what feels like an hour. Maybe it's just a few minutes. I stare at the building, half expecting Caroline to come racing out. But she doesn't. She's inside. With him. Or maybe she's alone, crying. God, I don't care. Or do I? I feel sick. A swirl of headlights from a passing car illuminates the shadowy interior of mine. My face in the rearview mirror looks contorted, grief-stricken, older than ever. I take a ragged breath, start the engine, and peel out of the parking lot. I drive with no destination, the wet roads shimmering under neon lights. I pass fast food joints, closed shops, and the reflection of my own torment in the side windows. Eventually, I end up at an all-night diner. I slump into a booth, order coffee, and stare blankly at the menu. The waitress, a tired-looking woman, offers me a sympathetic half-smile. I realize I must look desperate, drenched, possibly unhinged. I sip the coffee, scalding my tongue. Outside the window, the city lights flicker. Inside me, there's only emptiness. I think about that moment I saw them. Caroline's parted lips, Brandon's confident grip. It replays, again and again, like some sadistic loop. At some point, I manage to pull out my phone. There's a text from Caroline. Please come home. We need to talk. My hand shakes as I set the phone down. Another text. I'm so sorry. Please. I turn the phone over, face down. I'm no saint, but I always believed in loyalty. The ring on my finger feels heavier than ever, as though it's dragging me underwater. Eventually, I pay for my untouched fries and limp coffee, step back into the rain, and drive home. The house is silent when I arrive. Caroline's car is in the driveway, so she's inside. My fists clench at the thought of facing her. I brace myself. The moment I walk in, the lights are on low. She's in the living room, eyes puffy from crying. She rushes to me, tries to place her hand on my arm. Ethan, please. I knock her hand away, voice ragged. Not now. She stares at me, tears welling again. For a second, I see the woman I married 3 decades ago, the one who laughed at my corny jokes, who kissed me under the Christmas tree. But that memory feels distant, overshadowed by the vision of her with Brandon. I stomp upstairs to the guest bedroom, slam the door, and lock it. Behind that door, I crumple into a chair, bury my face in my hands, and let out a broken sob. Everything feels unreal, like a nightmare I can't wake up from. Soon, anger reclaims me. Scenes flash in my head. How she said we had problems and needed therapy. How she insisted I drive her to these appointments because she was too anxious. The ultimate joke. I sat in the car while she moaned under that bastard. Rage churns. My mouth tastes bitter. I vow then and there that I won't let this go quietly. Caroline thinks she can cry her way out of this. Brandon believes he can claim professional mistake. They have no idea what I'm capable of when pushed. And so, sleepless, I plan. I wake up on the guest bed with a knot in my neck and a heart even more twisted. Early sunlight peeks through the blinds, pale and uninviting. It barely chases away the lingering gloom. My mind replays yesterday's fiasco in looped torment. The punch, Caroline's sobs, Brandon's bloodied lip. Downstairs, the clink of dishes signals Caroline's attempt at normalcy. I hate that sound now. Rolling off the bed, I notice my reflection in the wardrobe mirror. Dark circles under bloodshot eyes greet me. This is the face of a betrayed husband. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. A message from my supervisor. Need you in for a quick staff meeting at 9. Work. The last thing I care about. But it's my routine. My anchor. I throw on yesterday's shirt, not bothering to iron out the creases. Let them see my disarray. Let them wonder. Downstairs, Caroline stands by the kitchen table, 2 mugs of coffee waiting. Her voice quivers. I made you coffee. I ignore the gesture. Instead, I grab my keys and shrug on my coat. Her face pales. She steps forward. Ethan, can we please? I shut the door behind me before she can finish. My heart hammers. I drive off, tires squealing. At work, everything feels off. My coworkers glance my way, perhaps sensing the tension radiating from me. The staff meeting passes in a blur of voices and overhead slides. I can't focus. The only thoughts in my head revolve around revenge, betrayal, and the memory of Caroline's bare shoulder in that bastard's office. During lunch break, I retreat to the parking lot and let out a slow, shaky breath. My reflection in the side mirror reveals a haunted stare. My mind replays every tiny sign I missed. Her sudden zeal for self-improvement, her phone locked at odd times, her odd giddiness whenever she left for those sessions. I recall a memory from years ago. Caroline and I dancing in the living room. No music except our laughter. I can't reconcile that memory with the reality I'd witnessed, her pinned against Brandon's desk. The rage resurfaces, intensifying. That afternoon, I feign productivity, then slip out early. I drive aimlessly, considering my next move. Some dark part of me wants to ruin Brandon Pierce, see him humiliated, maybe even behind bars for professional misconduct. As for Caroline, I can't bear to envision a life with her, but the idea of losing everything, our house, our shared history, crushes me too. I park near a quiet cafe, order black coffee, and brood in a corner booth. My phone vibrates incessantly with texts from Caroline. I ignore them. Another message arrives, and I open it out of morbid curiosity. I need to see you face to face. Please, Ethan. Face to face. I stare at the words, my pulse quickening. Fine. Let's see how sorry she is. I arrive home to find her on the couch, hands clasped in her lap. She leaps up when I enter. The silence feels charged, like a storm about to break. She steps closer. Ethan, I know you hate me right now, but let me. I hold up my hand. Save it. Just tell me the truth. When did this start? Her eyes brim with tears. She sucks in a breath. A few months ago. I joined a Facebook group for women over 50, just looking for support, you know. It led to a private chat where I met him, Brandon, and he offered counseling sessions. Said he'd help me cope with midlife stress. She looks away, shame etched into every line on her face. I fell for his attention, his flattery. The words cut me. So, you pretended you needed therapy. Made me drive you there. She nods, eyes glued to the floor. I never intended. It just happened. I let out a sharp laugh. It just happened. That's rich. Her voice trembles. I was lonely, Ethan. You were distant, always working late or lost in your own world. I felt invisible. Brandon was new, exciting, young. The admission stings. A wave of bitter jealousy mingles with guilt. Maybe I was distant, but that doesn't excuse betrayal. She sniffles. I was stupid. I see that now. I can't take it back. My anger flares. Stupid. No, you were deliberate. Lying. Cheating. Deceiving me for months. How many times did you sleep with him? She hesitates. I a handful. It was always in his office, or sometimes in his car. God, Ethan, I'm so sorry. Her words conjure vile images. My stomach churns. I slam my hand on the kitchen counter. You disgust me. She flinches as if struck. Tears spill down her cheeks, but I feel no sympathy. Not after picturing them in sweaty embraces. She tries to approach. I'll do anything to fix this. Fix this. I bark a humorless laugh. Nothing will fix what you did. You want me to talk to a marriage counselor now, too. Not your boyfriend, presumably. She trembles, arms wrapped around herself. I know I've lost your trust, but I can't bear to lose you. Let me try to make amends. I shake my head, stepping away. I'm not sure you get it. I saw everything. I can't unsee it. She collapses onto the couch, sobbing. For a moment, I watch her, memories warring with hatred. I think of all those years, good times, bad times, everything. Then I recall that afternoon in Brandon's office. My jaw tightens. I leave her there, climb the stairs, and head to our bedroom. Everything looks the same. Our bed, the photos from our wedding, the furniture we chose together. But it feels foreign. I yank a suitcase from the closet and start haphazardly throwing clothes into it. Behind me, I hear a soft knock. Caroline's voice trembles through the door. Ethan, please, don't leave. I don't answer. Zipping the suitcase, I stomp downstairs, rushing past her, and set it by the front door. She stands behind me, hands clasped like a penitent child. Where are you going? I face her with ice in my eyes. I need space. Don't follow me. Don't call me unless it's important. Her lips quiver. I'll give you space. But please, come back. It's pathetic, but I feel a momentary twinge of pity. She looks broken, but so am I. We'll see, I mutter, stepping out into the drizzle. The next few days pass in a blur. I crash at a budget motel on the outskirts of town, the walls thin enough that I hear neighbors arguing, TV commercials, a baby crying at 2 a.m. It matches my internal chaos. On the third day, I check my bank balance. I can't afford indefinite motel living, but the thought of returning home makes me nauseous. Instead, I call a friend, Bob, who's divorced and living alone in a small rental. He hesitates but offers me his couch. Bob's place is cramped, the living room doubling as a bedroom for me. He notices my hollow stare, my clenched jaw, and tries to coax details out of me. What happened, man? I deflect, offering only a vague mention of Caroline's unfaithfulness. He shakes his head in dismay and hands me a beer. We sit in tense silence, the TV flickering with a sports channel neither of us watches. At night, I lay there, phone in hand, reading over Caroline's numerous missed calls and texts. Let's talk. I'll do anything. We can fix this. I delete them all. She thinks apologies will patch me up, but no. One message from an unknown number catches my eye. Mr. Cole, this is Brandon Pierce. I owe you an explanation. My jaw tightens. Explanation. I almost smash the phone. Instead, I block the number. I don't need explanations. I need vengeance. I wake to my phone vibrating. It's nearly 7 a.m., and I'm sprawled on Bob's couch, neck stiff, mind in a haze. Another text from Caroline. He's pressing assault charges. Please talk to me. Assault charges. My pulse spikes, though part of me expected this. I did hit him, after all. More than once. The memory flares. Brandon's face snapping back, the crunch of bone against my knuckles. I'm not sorry. Bob stumbles out of his bedroom, bleary-eyed. Morning, he grunts. You okay? I rub the sleep from my eyes. Might be in legal trouble. The guy Caroline was with. He's a therapist. I punched him. Bob grimaces. Dan, that's messy. You need a lawyer. I breathe out, shaky. I might. But first, let me see if it's a bluff. I scroll through my phone for the number of a family friend who's an attorney, but my mind can't settle. Rage pulses behind my eyes. I picture that smug look on Brandon's face, and the way Caroline defended him. My jaw sets. I vow, if he wants a fight, I'll give him one. Out of nowhere, a plan forms. Not just a mindless punch, but a real revenge that leaves them both ruined. Brandon's a therapist. He's got professional ethics. If I expose his affair with a married client, he could lose everything. As for Caroline, she depends on me financially. I could cut her off, leave her scrambling. Let her taste humiliation. I find myself driving to the shipping company, ignoring the stifling sense of normalcy. I stay just long enough to clear urgent tasks off my desk, making sure I don't lose my job over this fiasco. Then I duck out by midday and head to a small diner with free Wi-Fi. Over a coffee that turns cold, I spend hours searching legal statutes on unethical therapy relationships. My fists tighten as I read about revoking licenses, lawsuits, public humiliation. Perfect. That evening, after Bob goes to bed, I huddle in his living room, laptop on my knees. I type a pointed email to the state licensing board, detailing how Brandon Pierce started a romantic and sexual relationship with my wife, a vulnerable older client, under the guise of therapy. I attach screenshots of those damning texts I copied from Caroline's phone the day I discovered them. Each word I type feels like stoking a furnace of anger, but it also fuels a sense of grim satisfaction. Before I hit send, I pause, wondering if I'm crossing a line. Then I recall the image of them locked in that heated embrace. My hesitation evaporates. I press send. Next, I craft a plan to empty our joint bank account. Legally, I have as much right to it as Caroline does, and the marriage is effectively over. I open the bank's website, ignoring the tightness in my chest. With a few clicks, I transfer the bulk of our savings into a new, separate account in my name only. My heart thuds with every confirmation message. This is war. By the time morning light filters through the blinds, I've hardly slept. Bob's place smells of stale beer and last night's takeout. I catch a glimpse of my reflection in his dusty TV screen. My eyes are bloodshot, jaw set in grim determination. I've never looked so cold. Late that afternoon, I see a missed call from Caroline. My finger hovers over the ignore button, but impulse drives me to pick up. Yes. Her breath stutters. Ethan, where have you been? We need to talk about the money. It's gone. I grip the phone. Gone where? I ask, feigning ignorance. She sniffles, voice trembling. You know exactly where. Why would you do this? A dry laugh escapes me. Because I can. Because I won't fund your affair. Ethan, I have nothing. I can't pay the mortgage alone, or the bills. I cut her off. That's your problem. Maybe your therapist can float you some cash. The cruelty in my tone shocks even me, but I don't stop. Oh, and by the way, your lover might be losing his license soon, so don't count on his paycheck. She gasps. What did you do? I hang up. My hands tremble, tears of fury burning my eyes. I sense no victory, only numbness. 3 days pass. The licensing board responds. They want more evidence. Caroline calls repeatedly, leaving desperate voicemails. Brandon's furious. He says he'll press charges unless you drop the complaint. The sound of her voice, panicked and desperate, stirs a twisted sense of triumph in me. Still, anxiety gnaws at me. What if he follows through? Will I lose my job, my reputation, or worse? But I don't back down. A hateful thrill propels me. Let them try. I'll bury them both in legal battles if I must. One afternoon, Bob, looking uneasy, says, You sure you want to go nuclear? This is your wife. I glare at him. Ex-wife. Soon. She made that choice. He lifts his hands in surrender. Okay, man. Just don't let this destroy you. His words echo in my head long after he goes to bed. Destroy me. Maybe it already has. A week later, I get a letter from Brandon's attorney, threatening a civil suit for assault and defamation. My stomach twists with a mix of fear and rage. So he's really doing it. Fine. Two can play at that. The next day, I show up at the house, my house, and find Caroline in the living room, rummaging through paperwork. She looks haggard, hair unkempt, eyes red. She jumps when I enter. Her voice cracks. You could have told me you were coming. I shrug. It's still my property. I'll come and go as I please. She swallows hard. Please, Ethan, we can talk this out without lawyers. I arch an eyebrow. That's rich, coming from the woman who lied for months. Her face crumples. I'm begging you. I'll move out if you want. Just don't ruin us both. I step closer, voice low. You ruined me first. She collapses onto the couch, sobbing. I watch her tears fall onto the stack of mortgage documents. Once that sound would break my heart. Now, I feel only a grim ache. Finally, I exhale. We're done. I'm filing for divorce. I'll make sure you get enough to survive, but not a penny more. Her watery gaze meets mine. And the house. It's mine. Figure out your living situation somewhere else. She nods, defeated. My chest tightens at the sight. Despite my fury, there's a flicker of the old bond between us. But it's drowned by betrayal. As I turn to leave, she whispers, I'm sorry. I pause, not looking back. I know, I say softly, then walk out. Thunder rumbles in the distance as I stand on the porch of my home. Now, just my home. The night sky is moonless, clouds threatening a storm. I can't help but feel it's symbolic. 2 weeks have passed since that final confrontation in the living room. My lawyer filed divorce papers, citing irreconcilable differences. Caroline eventually moved in with a friend. I haven't seen her face to face since. Occasionally, she texts, but I don't respond. The legal process churns. My revenge marches forward. I hear footsteps on the driveway. My lawyer steps out of her car, wearing a determined expression. She hands me some documents. We have a solid stance. Brandon's attorney wants to settle the assault charge quietly. He's worried about the ethics complaint. I nod, scanning the pages. Brandon faces a potential license revocation if the board rules in my favor. His attorney suggests dropping the assault case if I withdraw the complaint. A neat little arrangement to keep his career afloat. My lips thin. I don't want to withdraw. Let him face the consequences. She adjusts her glasses. You realize if you push, you risk a civil suit, and it might get expensive. I tilt my head, considering. A swirl of conflicting emotions grips me. Ruining Brandon might cost me. But a savage part of me roars for justice, for him to pay. The next day, I walk into my shipping company's office with a purposeful stride. I've got a meeting with HR to discuss the personal stress affecting my performance. They sympathize, offer me a temporary leave of absence. I accept. I need space. Later, in the hushed interior of my car, I check my phone messages, one from Caroline. I'm staying with Linda. Please don't cut me off entirely. We had years together. Can't we at least talk? My hand shakes with anger and an odd sadness. I drive to the bank to finalize some paperwork. The teller, a kindly older woman, glances at me with concern. I can't hide the turmoil in my eyes. She processes my request for partial funds to remain accessible to Caroline. Just enough for bare essentials. Some remnant of empathy, perhaps. That evening, I stand in the empty living room, the walls echoing with the memory of laughter and arguments, kisses and confessions. Now dust motes swirl in the lamplight, and silence presses in. My revenge is almost complete, yet I feel hollow. I recall Bob's warning. Don't let this destroy you. But maybe I've already destroyed everything that mattered. I rub my temples, the night's quiet intensifying the storm inside me. At around 9, a knock sounds on the door. I open it, half expecting Caroline or a process server. Instead, Brandon stands there, hair damp from the drizzle, a small bruise still visible under his jaw. My muscles tighten. "How dare you show up?" I growl. He lifts his hands in surrender. "I know you hate me. I needed to see you." I glare, gripping the door. "Get off my property." He exhales shakily. "I'm not pressing charges. My lawyer's trying to push me, but I'm not going through with it. I messed up. I deserve the board's scrutiny, but this lawsuit would only drag it out." I cross my arms, heart pounding. "So, you want to thank you?" He shakes his head. "No, I want to say I'm sorry." His voice trembles. I crossed a line, professionally, ethically, personally. I was swept up in the excitement, and I made a terrible mistake. My rage flares, but behind it is an unexpected flicker of pity. He's just a foolish kid who thought he could break the rules. I stare at him, my breath uneven. "You think an apology erases what you did?" He casts his gaze downward. "No, I know it doesn't, but I can't live with myself without at least facing you. If you want me to lose my license, I understand." Something in his tone resonates, a desperation that mirrors my own torment. I stand there in the doorway, the wind picking up behind him. Rain starts to fall. Lightning flashes in the distance. I swallow. "Does Caroline know you're here?" He shakes his head. "We haven't spoken much. She's dealing with her own fallout." Silence stretches, punctuated by the hiss of rain. Then, in a voice I hardly recognize as my own, I say, "You wrecked my marriage, or at least you sped up its collapse. I'll never forgive you for that." His eyes glisten. I understand. I tighten my jaw, searching for more words. The ones that come surprise me. I also can't live with this hatred forever. It's poisoning me. "So, yeah, I'll drop the complaint if you stay the hell away from me and Caroline." His head lifts, eyes wide. "You mean it?" A brittle laugh escapes me. "You heard me. But if I find out you've come near her again, I'll bury you. Understand?" He nods, relief etched across his face. "I promise." Thank you." I slam the door shut. My heart hammers. I can't tell if I've done the right thing. All I know is I'm exhausted. The final piece of revenge plays out the next morning. I file for divorce. I leave her with enough resources not to starve, but I make it crystal clear there's no reconciliation. The sense of finality is overwhelming. Days stretch into weeks. The legal wheels turn. I clean out the house, packing Caroline's items into boxes for her to pick up. Each box is a chapter of our life. Wedding albums, holiday ornaments, little souvenirs from vacations. I set them all in the garage. One evening, I find a dusty wedding photo in the back of a closet. She's beaming, dressed in white. I'm gazing at her with pure adoration. My throat tightens. I toss the photo in a box, uncertain if I'm discarding a treasure or a lie. Finally, Caroline arrives in a borrowed truck. She looks weary. "I'll be quick," she says softly, avoiding eye contact. I stand aside as she loads her boxes. Part of me wants to lash out or demand explanations, but the anger is dull now, replaced by a hollow acceptance. Before she closes the truck's tailgate, she turns to me. "Ethan, I never stopped loving you. I just messed up." I say nothing, my face impassive. She nods, tears in her eyes, and climbs into the driver's seat. The engine roars, and she's gone. Standing in the driveway, I watch the truck disappear. A thick ache settles in my chest. I'm alone, but at least I'm free from the toxic spiral we created. In the following weeks, I sign the final divorce papers. Bob's worried about me, but I assure him I'm fine. Maybe I'm not fine, but I'm functioning, back at work, keeping the house, forging a new routine. The nights are the hardest, echoing with what used to be. Sometimes I catch myself reliving that moment in Brandon's office, remembering how my heart shattered. But day by day, the bitterness fades, replaced by a cautious resolve. I've done what I set out to do. I left Caroline with nothing but regret and the bare minimum of money, and I forced Brandon to confront his professional violation. Is it justice or cruelty? Maybe both. At least now, I can rebuild on my own terms. One night, I step out onto the back porch. The stars peek through the Seattle haze. The air is cool, a hint of autumn crispness. I inhale slowly, letting the quiet wrap around me. Memories still linger, but they don't suffocate me. I realize I'm ready to move forward, though I have no idea what that looks like. But for the first time in weeks, I feel something akin to peace. Perhaps it's the knowledge that I survived the worst. Perhaps it's the flicker of hope that I can still carve out a future, alone, stronger, perhaps even open to something new someday. I stare at my left hand, the indent where my wedding band used to be. It's gone, sitting in a drawer somewhere, as worthless now as the promises that once glimmered around it. Yet, I'm alive. I'm still Ethan Cole, battered by betrayal but unbroken. The night sky remains silent, as though waiting for me to speak. I let out a shaky exhale, and for the first time in a long while, I allow myself a small, resolute smile.